Hello, my friends. The last time we heard from Amber, she claimed that she was concerned for her well-being. And this was after yet another crash out on her live stream. And for whatever reason, she thought she could just go live and chill and talk about whatever it is Amber thinks she has to talk about. But that's kind of the catch-22. She doesn't want to take the time and effort to make videos, but she does tend to regret going live. So we'll see if that trend continues. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not gonna lie.
As a former hater, I see how much you struggle with BPD and it's so real. I'm a fan now. Aw, it is real.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of former haters would call themselves former haters. Okay. And it's one thing to struggle with BPD. Like, I could have some sympathy, but the problem is if she does have BPD, she's refusing to do anything about it. In fact, somebody pointed this out to me at one point. In one of the lives where she was crashing out, she said that feelings are facts.
Feelings are facts, actually.
Which is actually like the opposite of what you would learn in DBT. In DBT, you're supposed to learn that your feelings don't necessarily match reality. So that kind of proves that she is not in DBT, or at the very least, she is not listening.
Is this the We're Back Together makeup look? No. I am single as a Pringle. Oh my God, Pringles sound good. Stop.
They may not be back together, but they're still talking. Like, they're still communicating, for sure.
Super hyped for Vlogmas. Any plans for specific vlogs? No, I'm literally, okay, this is my trailer for Vlogmas. So
I don't know what she's about to say, but of course not. You think she plans out her vlogs for Vlogmas or any vlogs ever? Do you think she's ever planned a vlog in her entire life? Okay.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm over 500 pounds. I live by myself. I have 3 fur babies that I love more than I even love myself. I leave the house once a week. Besides to walk my dog multiple times a day. So trailer is Vlogmas is actually going to be boring, miss. But you know what? Let's hop along. And
that is so wild. Like, we know she does nothing, but she's just admitting here that she does nothing and she's not even willing to just take some time during the day to vlog during Christmas. She's saying, I really don't care enough to put a little effort into my job, into making videos. So I'm just going to sit around and do nothing and put as little effort into this as I can so that I can spend all my time doing what I always do, which is what? Nothing. Looking at her phone, I guess, just doom scrolling. And I mean, I would say Legos, but I guarantee you she does not do Legos very often. She buys a lot of them. I think she buys Legos constantly. But I bet they just collect dust. They're just sitting on a shelf in her apartment. So the rest of the time she's eating, looking at her phone, well, and sleeping. I would guess she sleeps 12 to 16 hours a day. So yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. But just think of how boring that life is. I can understand somebody's mental health being terrible if you just don't do anything ever. And when she gets an opportunity to do something, like Vlogmas, right? That's a perfect opportunity to kind of kick it into high gear and expend some creativity or some energy, right? Putting something out there. But nah, I'd rather just sit and eat and watch my phone. And the problem is she's getting older. She's getting to the point where she doesn't have, especially at her size, she's not going to have a lot of years left to have the energy to put into a Vlogmas or something, you know? But again, I'm not surprised. None of us are surprised that she does nothing, but it's wild to hear her say it.
oh my God, boringness is coming. I'm just saying.
Boringmas 2025. How is that different than any other Vlogmas or vlog or anything she's ever done? Except, of course, when Emily dropped the receipts, that was less boring, for sure.
I will say one thing I'm doing for Vlogmas. I'm only going to give one hint. I'm collabing with another YouTuber.
I'm not sure who that would be. I mean, it has to be that Pink Sparkles, right? Or maybe Yo Mama. Those are the only two that I could see. I don't think Foodie Beauty would take the time to do anything with her, but I can see Pink Sparkles doing that because oddly enough, Pink Sparkles has over 1 million subscribers, but I think she would benefit more from a collab than Amberlynn would. And I think she knows that. And I mean, collabs do tend to bring attention, you know. DSP and Wings of Redemption did a collab, and I mean, it didn't go well, and I don't think they made much money, but it got a lot of viewers, you know. I think they ended up getting like 4 or 5 times the amount of viewers they usually do. So if Amber will actually take the time and put in the effort to do it, it would probably bring some attention, but it's not necessarily going to be good attention. When Amber collabs with somebody, it's just going to bring her usual audience. So yeah, they'll get a lot of views, but I don't think it's going to really help much in the long run.
Can you try acting like you're almost 40? Girl, I'm barely 35. I will act as young as my brain feels.
Yeah, we know. That is very obvious. And it's really only because she lives on the internet, right? Her entire worldview, everything she knows about the world, basically her entire life experience has come from the internet, has come from TikTok, has come from YouTube and all the brain rot you get by just scrolling all day long. And that's where she learns all her TikTok isms. And that's why she just kind of repeats what she hears on TikTok. And I really think that she's convinced that that's the way the general population talks, you know, that they speak like the people on TikTok because that's all she sees. I mean, she goes to bingo every once in a while, but I guarantee she doesn't talk to anybody besides her mom. In fact, her mom and her grandma are probably the only 2 humans she talks to. So it's no wonder she talks like this and acts like this.
JB, I don't know and don't care. Is it Chantel? You'll never know.
I mean, we will. If you do the collab, we will know, but that's a big if. Can you imagine trying to get Amberlynn on like a Discord call or something like that? Like, she's not going to do it. There's no way she's going to set up the technology and get the call going for a collab. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Youth is invaluable. Keeping your youth is invaluable. Oof, I disagree. It's so valuable because the minute I start to feel old, I'm going to act old and
She thinks that they're saying that keeping your youth is worthless, but invaluable means like it's precious.
feel like that's going to affect my mental health because I'm not being true to myself. It's valuable to be true to yourself. And if you have age regression due to trauma, fuck it. As long as you take care of your responsibilities, that's all that matters.
Well, yeah, fuck it. Don't do anything about it, right? Don't get to a place where you can not grab people by the arm when they're not doing what you want. Just fuck it.
Invaluable means valuable? Oh. That feels weird to me. That feels so weird. Invaluable.
And honestly, this is a good example of somebody who just lives on the internet. But you'd think even with that, she would have heard the term invaluable at some point. But I don't know, maybe she just wasn't paying attention. And maybe every time she heard it, she thought it was the opposite. So she completely misunderstood every situation when they said invaluable.
Feels so like it means, oh, unvaluable is probably the word. Okay, sorry. What am I going to be for Halloween? So that's a secret. So I have like a whole costume idea type deal type stitch, but
she's always got ideas. She's got pie in the sky ideas for days, but it's the execution. That's what matters.
I have been a foster parent over 11 years, and you definitely show signs of reactive attachment disorder, very common in youth who grew up in foster care. First of all, thank you for being a foster parent. Like, Brianna, thank you for the super chat. Unvaluable is not a word. Oh, okay.
That was very sentimental. That was very sweet of you to talk to the foster parent. That person was trying to sort of give her reassurance. And she's like, yeah, thanks for being a foster parent. That's, hey, super chat.
Yeah, I grew up in foster care for more than half of my childhood. So, you know how that goes.
I mean, we know that. Yeah. You have said that before, for sure.
Nope, it's not a Willy Wonka character.
I know what character they're talking about. You know, if they're asking about a Willy Wonka character, they're talking about Violet. I don't think she caught that.
Can you do a makeup tutorial? I miss watching those. Maybe, yeah, for Vlogmas, I can show little makeup type deals.
So I don't know anything about makeup, but it seems like she only has one makeup look, like one tutorial that she could do. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen her do anything other than this. And maybe like different colors and stuff, but like the exact same thing, except sometimes with face gems. So I guess she could do the same makeup tutorial just over and over again. I mean, I guess that counts.
You literally have nothing to talk about. Wow, I feel like this whole time I've been talking, but I don't know.
Yeah, you can talk without saying anything, right? You can talk for hours without saying anything. And I will give Amber this. She's gotten very good at talking ad nauseum without saying anything.
I have a question. If it makes you wet when people... What? Someone said, if it makes you wet when people call you fat. Bitch, where?
So I think this is a reference to the TikTok that she did where she is saying, when strangers call me fat, and it keeps saying, you're talking dirty to me, and it sounds like you're flirting with me. And it kind of sounds like she's getting off on somebody calling her fat. It's kind of weird.
Feels like you're flirting with me.
Where? If you're talking about my TikTok is very much giving sarcasm, as in like, you cannot think that calling me fat, like this day and age, is gonna make me feel bad about myself. Like, fat people are beautiful. Fat is beautiful. Fat is simply a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not bothering her enough to make a TikTok about it.
And if people want to sit here and say, well, fat is unhealthy and unhealthy is ugly, well, then next time you see like the most beautifulest girl in the world smoking a cigarette, you can say the same thing.
Yeah, and sometimes people say, I'm not attracted to some person because they smoke cigarettes. That's not terribly uncommon because preferences are preferences. And some people find fat attractive and some people don't. And some people find smoking cigarettes very unattractive. It really doesn't have anything to do with health in either instance.
I'm just saying, fat doesn't mean ugly. Point blank here. And I will never ever believe that.
Ugly and pretty is completely subjective, 100%. So fat could be ugly to somebody.
Made that TikTok, it was very much about body positivity, and I've always been about body positivity, always. People get it confused because I'm not health at every size. That I do not believe. But
yeah, see, the body positivity movement or whatever sort of got co-opted. It was originally for people who look different, right? Like, I mean, fat people, amputees, burn victims, whatever you looked like, you were welcome there. And then all of a sudden, this fat acceptance, health at every size, mumbo jumbo started taking over. And now body positivity pretty much only means fat people. If you're skinny, they don't want you. So when you say I'm for body positivity, it sort of has a negative connotation now. It didn't when it first started, right? It was sort of supposed to be inclusive, but now it's sort of become far more negative.
someone's like, when are you going to entertain us? Is that why almost 2,000 people are watching? Stop. I mean, for real, if I was boring, there wouldn't be that many people watching. That's just like the way I feel.
I mean, yeah, but I think most people are watching just to see if you crash out. Because so far, every live she has done, pretty much, she has crashed out in some way or another. So I think people are watching because they're like, is that going to happen again?
No crash out. Just a girl being a girl. Can you do a spin in the chair? Yeah, I do it all the time.
When you're live and someone says, can you do a thing? They're generally meaning like, can we see it? Like, will you do it now? Like, we know that you can. Like, we see that you're spinning it, but they're saying like, hey, can you do a spin in the chair for us? Like right now.
To me, the perfect body type is like goddess, the goddess body. You know, they're overweight, but like they have curves in like all the right places. Like that's what I want. I never want to be skinny. That is not a goal for me. Never has been, ever.
I mean, okay, but that's like me saying I've never wanted to be in the NFL. That's not been the goal for me ever. Like, yeah.
I like the look of being curvy. So can you just imagine how like my makeup would look even I don't even know. I don't want to say the wrong thing because I just said body positivity, but you're your own worst enemy 100%.
So it sounds like what she was getting ready to say was, imagine how good my makeup would look if I was skinny. And then she caught herself, and then she added, but you're your own worst enemy, sort of hinting that, like, it's okay to think you would be prettier if you were skinny if you're just talking about yourself. And basically, what that does is still says that she thinks being skinny is prettier.
You'll never be skinny, Amber. Let that sink in. That's a good thing. I don't want to be.
Well, and that's another sort of justification she can give herself. Like, I don't want to be skinny. And that sort of lets her go, so it's okay if I eat this and this. It's fine because I don't want to be skinny anyway.
Imagine if you loved yourself enough to take your mental health seriously. Oh my God, I do. My mental health, ever since I took Zoloft, like I'm going to stand a million toes down that Zoloft has absolutely changed my life.
Now, if that's true, that's great. But it's clearly not enough. She's obviously not going to therapy. She refuses to take her mental health seriously. Yet she'll come on here and say, I do take it seriously. And all she's doing, supposedly, is just taking Zoloft and calling it a day.
This is going to be trigger warning. This is going to be TMI. This is going to be all of it. And I've talked about this before. I was suicidal. I was absolutely suicidal. About 6 months ago, every single day, I was done. And it was so fucking dark and I had to constantly put on a face, but behind the scenes, I was crying 24/7. I did not want to be here anymore. And it was when I was at bingo with my mom, which I've talked about this.
So she's saying that she was feeling that way 6 months ago. So she's basically saying that she was feeling that way because of Emily, right? Because of her relationship with Emily. That's kind of what she's hinting at. Because that was in the middle of kind of between Wisconsin and then the receipts being released to Mr. Snowflake. And around that time is when she was doing all her Let's Talks and weekly vlogs, and she had her schedule, and she was basically uploading several times a week. And she said she had to put on a face, but Amber's not that great at hiding her emotions. Because if you think about it, when Beck came out and shared their experience with Amberlynn behind the scenes during their relationship, Amber immediately started going live, crashed out, and disappeared for a while. And then when Emily started sharing their texts, Amber immediately went live, crashed out several times, and then disappeared. That seems to sort of be her MO. When she gets really upset, she just sort of disappears. Or at the very least, she really struggles to hide being upset. And during this time, she had a schedule that, oddly enough, she stuck with for quite a while. And she's saying that during this period, she was doing far worse than she was during those crash outs and during the Emily drama and all that stuff. So it's Amberlynn we're talking about.
Bingo out with my mom, and I randomly just started bawling, and I went outside. My mom followed me, and she just hugged me, and she was like, what's wrong? And I told her, I want to die. And it was that moment. And then I saw my doctor a few days later, and all he asked me was, how are you? And I started bawling, and my chest felt heavy.
It's always really serious for her when she's bawling.
And I had like a full-fledged panic attack, a breakdown, just because my doctor said, how are you? And I was so tired of every day waking up feeling like so lonely. Like the loneliness that I felt was like, it was unmatched. Like I could be in a room full of 1,000 people and still be like so beyond lonely. And then,
But that's the problem, right? She's never in a room full of anybody other than when she goes to bingo. She's in a room with herself constantly, all day, every day. That has got to be awful for your mental health. And it is pretty clear what she's doing here. She is trying to say that Emily drove her to the brink. That is all this story is doing.
And so that's why finally I was like, I don't care that I'm afraid of medicine. I do other things that like hurt my body. So why am I so afraid of something that could like genuinely save my life? Because I felt like so. And once the Zoloft started working, I started feeling like the positive effects from it around like, surprisingly, because it usually takes 5 to 6 weeks, I started feeling something around like week 4. And then now that I've been on it for months now, I don't miss a single time. I have that alarm set. I take it every single day on point. I do not feel that feeling anymore. And it's crazy because like I have been going through a lot.
See, and she's trying to say that Zoloft fixed the problem, that that's all she needed, that her problem is solved. But we know how she reacts when she doesn't get her way. We know how she reacts when somebody tries to confront her with her behavior. So it's clear she needs more than that.
I have been. It's very apparent. And it's not even, it's like things that are public, but then there's like things that obviously aren't public either. And not once did I ever look at life and say, I want it to end because I love life. So this is my like, don't be afraid of medicine. Sometimes you need it type deal, you know?
Yeah, we know. And you know too. The afraid of medicine thing has always been one of those, I'm just so quirky, you guys. I'm afraid of medicine. I'm afraid of everything because I'm so quirky.
So I'm crying actually happy tears. So hi. I'm crying happy tears because I am so thankful. It feels really good. Stop treating us like you're a therapist. No, this channel is about my life and
Notice what she said there? No. Somebody said, stop treating us like your therapist. And she said, no. Now, you could interpret that as her saying, no, because, almost like a transition into another sentence. But no, she was saying no, because this is my life and I'm talking about it. She does treat her audience like her therapist. And that has never worked out well for her, especially when she does it live. But she's never going to go to therapy. And that's because it would require a lot of real work, hard work.
sometimes that includes opening up about feelings and emotions and sharing what's going on within your soul, your heart, your mind, your body, your spirit. Me telling you guys about that is no different than me telling you guys, oh, I had COVID 6 months ago, you know.
I mean, it can be about that, but it also can be about anything you want it to be about, right? It's your channel. You don't have to talk about your mental health. You don't have to talk about how you're feeling about anything. And talking about your mental health, talking about the struggles, talking about your trauma, all that stuff is why you've gotten here, why you've gotten to this point. But I mean, the problem is there's really not much else for her to talk about. So while she's not wrong, it's her channel and it's about her, she can't make it about anything really all that interesting because the only thing about her is how she feels about stuff. Because she can't share experiences because there are none. So all she can tell you about is her emotions and her feelings about things she sees on the internet or just the stuff that people ask her about.
And people should be allowed to speak up about mental health. People only care once it gets like too bad. People only care when someone's gone. And that's just sad. People should be able to talk about it whenever they want, wherever they want. And feel free to do that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But you also should be a good example. And I would argue you're a pretty bad example because you have always refused to take it seriously and go to therapy after claiming you have BPD and all these different diagnoses that require more than just a single medication. And then you sit here in your tower and say, we should be able to talk about mental health. It's a shame that we can't talk about mental health more. And while it's true, mental health should be spoken about far more, you're not the shining example of what we should be doing. But just look at this smug look on her face like, I figured it out. And I'm sharing all my wisdom with all of you.
I appreciate you being so open about your struggles with your mental health, and I'm so happy you're doing better. Also, you're so gorgeous. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Being open with her struggles. I mean, she talks about them, but I don't know that open is the right word.
All you gotta do is be consistent. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, it feels good to like happy cry, you know? Like it just feels really good. So yeah, my update, you guys, is I have been healthily taking a break and I'm just so at peace with life right now and I'm happy and like things that don't make me feel good, you know, sometimes it takes a million tries over and over and over, but things that don't make me feel good, like you just have to say bye to those. And I think that's why you guys have been seeing so many breaks from me lately.
That is how you've ended up here, is because you won't do anything that makes you uncomfortable. You won't do anything that is hard or that you don't like. Your life is doing whatever makes you happy. That's all you've ever done. So don't then say, oh, just doing what I like is something I've been choosing to do lately for my mental health. No, that's what you've done your entire life.
Because YouTube doesn't always make me feel good at all. But with strength and determination and all the love and support I get from so many of you, like that keeps me going, genuinely. And I love you guys so much for that, like from the bottom of my heart, truly.
Well, and the paycheck. And that's why she does the live streams, because it's easy money. It's her job, and I get that. But it's easy to be forced to go onto YouTube and then say, I do it because of you guys.
My boyfriend tells me I'm not my feelings. I'm like, yes, my feelings are how I feel, but supposedly you can control your thoughts. LOL. It's a lot. Feelings are a lot. Emotions are a lot, but
And feelings are not facts. Just FYI. And you can't always control how you feel, but you can learn to control how you behave based on those feelings and how you react to those feelings. But if that's something that doesn't come naturally, it takes time and work and help.
yeah, GLP-1s will work, but if you have a history of gallstones or pancreas problems, it's not the greatest idea to be on them. I have been told by a few doctors, no, you cannot take these because of that, which sucks because I literally love being on semaglutide, Ozempic, like whatever the fuck they were calling it at the time, you know?
The one medication that worked, the one thing that actually caused her to lose weight, gallstones, pancreas. What are you going to do?
Whatever I was put into my body, I loved it. Like, I didn't have food noise. I didn't think about food, like, because there's such like a big misconception. Like, yeah, I love food, but I also hate it at the same time. So it's nice, like, when you're on like semaglutide and such, it just feels freeing.
But think about this, right? When she's on the GLP-1, that food noise goes away. And so then she's just left with her thoughts all day and nothing else and no one else. Nothing to pass the time. And she can't even eat to pass the time. Most of us are constantly having things to look forward to. Like our kids' basketball game this weekend, even if it's just the end of our workday, right? We're looking forward to 5 o'clock to get home. But she doesn't have that. Food is that for her. That's all she has to look forward to is food. So the GLP-1 takes that away. And all she's left with is just a blank space and her thoughts.
How do you feel about people saying you stopped because you didn't have a coping mechanism without the food noise? Oh no, I never stopped because of that. Because that to me was such a freeing and like blissful, euphoric feeling. Just, I don't know, being on semaglutide and Ozempic, like I was lighter on my feet because I wasn't as swollen. Like,
So bullshit, first of all. And I'm not even saying it was a coping mechanism. I'm just saying that she was just bored. She has nothing to look forward to. Her life is so devoid of anything of substance. So food was sort of her thing to look forward to. It was the only excitement she had all day. So even if it's not like a coping mechanism, it's still something she misses when it's gone. And she could say she was free from it all she wants, but she sat there looking at her phone and hours and hours would go by. And I guarantee she was just like, I hate this.
I have lipedema all over my body. Obviously, I only have lymphedema in my legs. And when I eat less, I lose that swelling all over my body. So it makes breathing better. It makes talking better. And
Just FYI, can you have lipedema all over your body? At least according to Google AI, it says no. Lipedema does not affect the entire body. It primarily affects the lower body, hips, thighs, and calves. It says lipedema is an abnormal buildup of fat on your lower body. It's a long-term condition that can affect up to 11% of women. However, it does say here that type 4, the fat is in your arms. Everything else says your buttocks, your knees, ankles, calves, but then this one, type 4, says it's in your arms. But then it says lymphedema can affect the whole body. So, and while, I mean, it's pretty obvious she has lipedema in her legs, I think she just kind of heard about both of those things and decided that's a good excuse for her to have those things. So that way she doesn't have to really work at dieting or anything like that, because it wouldn't help anyway, guys. I've got lipedema and lymphedema. So what's the point?
it makes just moving better. It makes walking better. It makes everyday things just better and easier. And it just feels so good. And I would de-swell a lot while on semaglutide and Ozempic.
Yeah, losing weight makes you feel better. Like, yeah, that's obvious. And it doesn't have to come from semaglutide. That just helped. So she knows that she would feel better. She knows what it would feel like to start losing weight. I mean, she's lost some weight before, but it's just never enough motivation, right? No matter how much better she feels, it's never going to be enough motivation because she's addicted to food.
Because I wasn't eating as much. But I've heard a lot of people with lipedema and lymphedema say the same thing. So that could be like the reason. But like there are a lot of people who have lipedema and lymphedema that are saying like Ozempic and like semaglutide and things like that are helping them. So like I want to be on it so bad. Like you have no idea. Ugh.
Yeah, but she can't. She's a special little snowflake that can't be on stuff because she's got everything. She's got all the stuff that just prevents her from being able to do anything to help herself. Dang.
You don't even have that diagnosis. Yeah, actually in 2023, I saw a lymphedema specialist. I went with my ex at the time and showed me how to do, well, showed us both how to do like the lymphatic massages, etc. And they're so painful. Like, holy fuck.
Salty Crab did a video talking about her lymphedema stories, and it didn't really add up. All the details around it were a little fishy, so I don't know.
Stu said there has to be something else to talk about, girly. Oh my god, I've talked about so many topics. So many topics. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go. I just wanted to give you guys a little update, and I'll see you guys in my next live stream. Bye.
And I wondered why she ended so abruptly. And it's because everybody was saying, what about the community post? And it was the one about Emily, right? Where she was saying that, to her knowledge, Emily has never harmed anybody in her care, et cetera, and it just kind of came out of nowhere, supposedly. So notice it just keeps popping up, community post, talk about the community post. And so all of a sudden, she's just like...
Give you guys a little update, and I'll see you guys in my next live stream. Bye.
And done. Over. So I don't know why she thinks she's going to be able to go live and people aren't going to bring up Emily, you know? But the lives are where the easy money is, you know? That's where she's always going to go if she can. So yeah, she was clearly saying that Emily drove her to the brink. And she's not real good at hiding her emotions. And it's just strange that she's claiming that now she's much better because she's on Zoloft. But while she was on Zoloft, she had basically zero control over her emotions once Emily started sharing the texts and stuff like that. But yet back then, it was so much worse, and she wasn't medicated, and she was hiding it perfectly in her videos, where nobody had any idea that things were so bad behind the scenes. Even worse, by far, than they were during her crash outs. So, I don't know, man. Again, it's Amberlynn, so what are you gonna do? Anyway, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.